When you think or say that you can achieve something, a tiny particle called a photon pops out of the electron cloud inside the DNA that is in your cells. So, if your conscious mind is saying, I can do this, this conscious state will be in the photon. This means your body will emit many photons. If you are irritated, these photons will be carrying disturbed energy. And if you are feeling all right, then these photons will be carrying a positive energy. Dr. Fritz Albert Popp will call these biophotons. We are constantly emitting photons throughout in all our entire body. Photon is elementary particle of electromagnetic energy. Elementary particle of light. They exhibit properties of both particle and waves. What is the photon? The photon is a component of electromagnetic energy, and it is emitted as a quantum particle of light. Light also exists as electromagnetic waves. When we look at the sun or the light from the electric lamp, photons are coming through your eyes and making you feel, oh, that's too bright, too bright. Photons are also used by plants in the photosynthesis. Photosynthesis is a process whereby specialized plants absorb water and carbon dioxide. When exposed to sunlight, then they convert these light-activated molecules into carbon dioxide and thereby are able to form the structure of new cells. In such a process, the photons are released and absorbed into the plant cells from the exposed of sunlight. In a similar way, human skin cells and cells of eye absorb photons from sunlight. The photons entered plant cells and works there like a battery. It charges the cell with renewed power. This is how vegetables like an eggplant swell and grow. And when you eat eggplant, some of the photons that are stored in there will enter and accumulate within your body. A special relationship exists between the sunflowers and the photon. We notice how sunflowers do not face down and are always chasing after the sun. This happens because the sunflower wants to maximize the energy it receives from the sun, so it's always facing up and never down. The photon plays a role like a powerhouse, and sunflower uses this power source for the upward momentum of their growth and for the production of seeds at their summit. German theoretical biophysicist Dr. Fritz Albert Popp, consciousness is coherent light. Coherent light is the phenomenon that occurs when the oscillations of light traveling in the waves get in sync. It occurs whenever light waves travel together in oscillatory harmony, then they all had the same focus and intention. It is not a phenomenon that occurs only in the brain, but the general phenomenon that occurs in all parts of the body when whole cells, our toenail, skin, hair, stomach, our blood, and immune system are all composed of cells. Photons are emitted from these cells. Will you please imagine photons being emitted from your head, stomach, toenails, and even from your blood? So, does it mean to emit photons? It means that your whole entire body is emitting light and your whole body is illuminated. Let me show an example here. I want to share a glimpse into the world of quantum mechanics with you. If you are to feel the world of quantum mechanics in your daily life, this experience is exactly the same as the holy teaching of Buddha, as the world of enlightenment. Perhaps you might think, but how can it be possible? What I am talking about is the invisible world we inhabit under surface appearances. It is the quantum world, wherein our body are rooted within the range of microscopic events, and inside this lies the scope of an even smaller world. When we talk about the characteristic of elementary particles, it has been demonstrated that all the information of universe is convoluted inside one single elementary particle. There are no others in this world. We are all living systems, and elementary particles are all intertwined and interconnected. It is like a kind of giant net or mesh. They are all part of each other. If I try to explain the idea of quantum mechanics in relation to Buddhism, you can correlate the idea that the environmental cause of all phenomena, everything being dependent on everything else, directly implicated me in everything. You are not separated at all. Like an elementary particle, you are woven into the cosmic fabric where there are no holes. One is in all, and all is in one. Einstein won the Nobel Prize in Physics in 1921. Science without religion is lame. Religion without science is blind. Neither science nor religion alone can provide all the answers to life and our world we live in. What he tried to explain in this quote, science without religion, means science and technology that ignore the hearts of people. If we ignore our minds, thoughts, responses, and emotions, and rely solely on equations to represent reality, we produce only a lame understanding of things. We produce only nonsense. And religion without science means that telling people a blindly belief without providing any science evidence or explanation is pointless and blind. In other words, Einstein says that the scientific explanation and the evidence, which includes our spirituality and consciousness, are both crucial. Will you please listen very carefully, feeling the invisible interior of your own body and activate as possible? Your body is made up of organs. Your stomach, heart, kidneys, and eyes. They are all composed of cells, and the cells are each composed of molecules, and the molecules are composed of atoms. At the center of the atomic nucleus, protons and neutrons exist. I think this is something you learn in middle school or high school. Well, there are some other particles that exist inside of the proton and neutrons. Inside the proton and neutrons, even smaller elementary particles exist. What do you imagine when you focus on the world elementary particle? Outer space, or some of you may think it is not relevant to me. When no matter what, your body is composed of these elementary particles. The tea that you are drinking is also composed of elementary particles because the water it was brewed in is H2O, which is ultimately made up of these ultra-minute elementary particles, and the vastness of outer space is also made up of elementary particles. If you further observe the world of quantum mechanics, there are special strings that consist of all elementary particles in the universe. These strings are explained in so-called superstring theory and uses in the terminology of theoretical physics. Imagine you are watching these strings make a certain motion. This movement can be seen as an elementary particle, or it can be seen as waves. When electromagnetic waves are thought of in your minds as localized in space-time, they appear to us particles of light and photons. Each movement has its own vibration and unique patterns emanating from the strings. In other words, your body is made up of these strings. It means you are strings. Do you know where these strings arise in the world? You may think it is from much smaller world than the tiny strings themselves, but actually, the source for these strings spreads throughout the cosmos. It is a giant sea of energy. This sea of energy is called the zero-point field. I'm going to explain the image you're seeing here. Things larger than atoms are called matter. And the matter is visible substances of the world. You learn in middle school and high school classes about classical physics and called Newtonian mechanics. Classical Newtonian mechanics is the main scope of university entrance examination in Japan. Things smaller than elementary particles are invisible to our eyes, and it is explained in the academic field of quantum mechanics. When you hear the word quantum mechanics, you may immediately think, I have heard about quantum mechanics before, but isn't that something to do with the Nobel Prize or a similar field of research? Right? I don't think it is relevant to me in my life, but all substances and the source of all things are explained in quantum mechanics. Everything exists in the cosmos are explained in quantum mechanics. The world of quantum mechanics, specifically to the physical to zero-point field. Now, I'd like you to experience the real world of quantum mechanics that I just explained to you. Just as you use your two fingers on touch screen to zoom in, we will be zooming in on surface of your body. About 20 or 30 minutes from now, you will realize, whoa, this is the feeling of a connection between myself and the whole entire world. I would like you to think of this process as if you were going to meditate throughout seeing these images. Okay, let's envision the microscopic world. Please imagine that you are turning into the ant, and your surroundings, the environment is getting bigger and bigger. Here is a goal. If you are the size of an ant, the goal will look gigantic. Since you have become much smaller, human beings will look bigger. If you are consciously reducing our physical size, our surroundings will grow relatively bigger and bigger. Your skin will look enlarged and rugged and like a landscape. We are continuing to consciously get smaller. Your skin look vast and you will start seeing cells. You can now observe the individual cells. You keep getting smaller. Your conscious awareness is continuing to penetrate deeper into the realm of the minute. What do we see now? Try to imagine this as we continue zooming in on our touching screen, the phones. Then there are atoms we see now. We were taught at high school that the electrons are circling around the atomic nucleus. But later at college, we learn instead that there is a fog called the electron cloud as opposed to nice, neat orbital line of circling clouds. What does this cloudy substance look like? Well, this is what the body is ultimately made up of. Who has had X-ray taken? The X-ray can take a photo of your inside, perhaps penetrating through the dense matter of your body. That's because the X-ray is also electromagnetic waves which go swash through your body. Electromagnetic waves are made up of photons. This is like a fog and underlaid solid form and structures within your captured on the X-ray. This is a similar, much deeper swirling fog occurring at the time of the subatomic level. You can talk on mobile phones, right? That is because the carbon atoms on the wall are like a fog to the little Mr. Photon. The electromagnetic waves coming from your mobile phone are also the work of the little Mr. Photon. Imagine you were driving along the misty mountain road. The photons is like a car moving through empty space, and the fog in the microscopic realm is just like a human being or wall. So, you say, I can do this. Positive photons will be emitted from your body. Then, your body, the body of a person sitting next to you, and the wall in the room, the whole space around you will all resonate with positive photons. If you say it's totally disaster, then those hopeless vibrations will be resonate in the same area. Whereas if you say thank you, the surrounding environment will resonate with the thank you vibe. So ultimately, your environment is created by your state of consciousness. Now, I will be reducing the scope of the consciousness once again. What we will see as this atom expands, increasing in the size relative to us. At the center of this atom, there is the atomic nucleus, and atomic nucleus is composed of protons and neutrons. The three circle in the center of a proton and neutron elementary particle exist. So this means when you're zooming in, you will actually see the elementary particle inside of your body. And these elementary particles exist not only inside of your body. You can see this desk is made of wood. So the desk is made up of a lot of carbon at the molecular level. If you enlarge a carbon atom in the same way, there are elementary particles to be found within this atom. And what about the air all around us. When look at air in the descending order of magnitude, we will ultimately find elementary particles deep within the oxygen and nitrogen atoms, and of course also within their complementary molecules. Although I have never actually seen it with my eyes, if we could zoom in on the air, I'm sure we would see the elementary particle in the substance we breathe. In other words, elementary particles are everywhere, and strange dynamic of this microscopic world, which starts from the elementary particle, are explained to us by quantum mechanics. If anyone asks you what is quantum mechanics, then the simplest answer would be to say it is the fundamental scientific understanding about the fundamentals of microscopic world involving interactions between the elementary particles that made up of all substances. We are going to continue to focus on making your perceptual awareness smaller and smaller. You are now starting to see this elementary particle growing bigger and bigger relative to your size. Okay, what do we see next? Look, this elementary particle is in fact made of dancing and twisting moving strands. These dancing and twisting moving strands are termed strings in physical theory. Yes, these are the famous strings from superstring theory. These strings are moving freely within the primary field. Their frequency and vibration varies depending on which type of elementary particle are involved. At some level, they are actually oscillating 100 quintillion times per second. These strings are floating in the vacuum of space as the invisible like this. Can you imagine this black part? Black part here is a vacuum. What will happen if you consciously imagine you are getting smaller, while this black space is getting bigger, and still bigger? We can call this expansive infinite vacuum the zero-point field. There are ball-shaped objects are in fact the very same strings I already mentioned to you just moments ago. These little strings are dancing and twisting at the speed impossible to imagine, around 100 quintillion times per second. And that is the reason why, in our thoughts, due to all incredibly fast twisting and spinning motion, these strings appear round to us. No one has yet found empirical evidence of the existence of these strings. They are, of course, far too small to be visible to our naked eye. Strictly speaking, string theory currently exists only at the theoretical level. The assumption where this theory proved current is that it provide us with a calculable formula in physics for making sense of the universe we inhabit. If the strings do indeed exist, their behavior could scientifically account for many difficult questions about nature of the universe. You, me, smartphones, air buildings are all made out of strings, and there is no true boundary true boundary exists between you and me. If you can consciously determine that your physical body exists as a massive compound of elementary particles, then you will soon enough come to realize that you are connected to the person in front of you, your chair, and to the walls surrounding you. And when you gaze into the even more minute realm of zero-point field, you start to understand that it is this field itself that creates everything that exists in the world, including us. Yes, you were born from this field. The zero-point field exists right here, where we are in this room, and this modern scientific perspective aligns perfectly with the holy teaching of Buddha. Dwelling in this understanding leads to the state which the Buddha called Enlightenment. Buddhist monks are seeking to arise at such a state of enlightenment and to realize, oh, we are in fact living in the greatest field. That's why I want you not only to actively listen to me, I want you to physically experience the field for yourselves and for real. And here is the most important thing I want to tell you. The vacuum that exists here and around all around us is the zero-point field. So remember that the zero-point field is not far away. It exists right here. So we are looking at our world from the perspective of the little Mr. Photon in your body. You, me, my desk, my smartphone, my computer, the air, the building are full of gaps. You, for sure. You are full of gaps. And there is no real boundary between you and me. For example, let's say you have someone who you absolutely hate and you don't even want to look at their face. It could be your spouse, your mother, or someone you are at your company. I want you to think very carefully that in the realm of little Mr. Photon, when you say or think, I hate you, to your spouse, you are saying to the strings of your spouse's body, you are saying it to the strings of your spouse's body, which is same identical structure as your strings. Your consciousness has therefore created a problem when you say or think, I hate you. In the study of neuroscience, whatever you are looking at, you are not really seeing objectively through your own eyes. The information inside your consciousness creates the apparent reality of your world. And it is this emotional and binary algorithm that will determine whether you feel hateful or thankful about certain incidents. Well, now we will return from the world I have described for you so far. Now instead, we will zooming out, where you want to shrink as imagine on your cell phone like this. Then strings are floating. As we're shrinking further, you can see the atomic nucleus continues shrinking. Then the atoms are visible, shrinking some more. You can see cells shrinking some more. You can see skin shrinking some more. Now, you can see a gall separated from you. The gap between you, your body, and everything else is now an apparent reality within your mind. This passive gap is in the air around you. It is between you and the person in front of you, between you and the earth, between you and the universe. In other words, when you expand and see your skin, there is a void that lies between you and others, between you and objects. There is always this gap. However, this gap reality is something that exists in your thoughts, not in truth. In the actual world of energy, strings, and elemental particles, there exists countless unbreakable connections between you and the entire universe. The air, the disk, your husband, your wife, your dad, your mom, your daughter, and the earth are all connected within the universe. These gaps inside of your body are connected to the air, are passing in front of you, the earth, and the universe. This is not discussion of any religion. In the world of quantum mechanics, it means that your existence itself is literally woven into the universe as an unbroken continuum. This figure shows the spatial concepts of classical mechanics up to this point. And from here on is the foggy world, which is the area of quantum mechanics. Your physical body, as you perceive it, exists on this side. The shutter speed of your eyes is way too slow to perceive minute oscillation within the primary field. Instead, you can only capture certain electromagnetic frequencies ranging from violet to red. This is what produces our perception of solid objects. Let's talk about your own state of consciousness. When you feel she or he is different, or I can believe that person, that is when we looking out the world from the right side of this figure. When you are feeling your true connection with the surrounding environment, and you're feeling, I'm so happy, congratulations, I'm very thankful. You're looking at the things from the left side of the figure. When you bring your consciousness down to some microscopic level, and you can feel yourself connected to the strings or even the 0-point field itself, is when you are experiencing totality in your consciousness. This is so-called world of enlightenment that Shakyamuni Buddha was teaching us to awaken into. In other words, enlightenment already exists inside each of us, and it is continuing to remain here, accessible to each and all. Viewing the world from the right side consists of living consciously within the physical realm of matter, whereas viewing the world from the left side means we experience ourselves within the 0-point field. Well, from here on, the right side is the physical matter side. It is visible, and emotions such as irritations in daily life, or when you think about she is rude or I'm not good, keeps us stuck, as opposed to the vibration of consonant within the all-inclusive field. Those emotions exist potentially inside of the electron clouds. So the biophotons flying around us are just reacting to the surrounding environment based on the emotional judgment. In other words, when you feel irritated, you are just judging what is happening to you from the single point of perspective. You are viewing or creating your reality from the right side. The side on the left here, is where both time and space are intertwined without hard and fast defining boundaries. And this zero-point field is the original birthplace of our individual consciousness. It is an area of love and gratitude. I want you to notice that this side is the main source. Even if it is only occur to you 3 seconds a day, it may increase 5 seconds or 5 minutes someday, or maybe it will remain for up to an hour a day. This positive feedback occurs as evidence of what we can become when striving to reach the state of enlightenment. We can freely change our perspective between right side and left side. If you can change your perspective freely, it's called kanji-zai. In the context of Heart Sutra, the word kanji-zai is written at the beginning of the script. This explains how compassion of a Buddha can freely perceive all things by meditating on perfect wisdom and realize that all things are made up of vibrations. This information has been revealed to us over the past 100 years via quantum mechanics. However, it was already being taught about 2,600 years ago by Buddhism. So, if we look at our consciousness at the level of elementary particles, our bodies, desks, cell phone, building, iron, air, and each all consist of same strings. It is the matter of how we can change our perspectives and capture reality. In other words, how much can we perceive phenomena from the side of unconditional love?